Hello everybody. What I want to talk about today is wrist set. We've been getting a lot of people coming in, and a lot of people with the Swing Reader app, noticing that people don't know how to really set their wrists or aren't able to set their wrists. And what wrist set is, just so we're all on the same page, is the ability when you take the club back to set your wrist, to set that angle there, okay? So wrist set's important for a couple different reasons. One, it's important for power. Two, it's important to be able to maintain, so when you come down into the golf ball, you can compress the ball, and that's how a good swing is produced. So what we want to talk about first is, do you have the right motion? So in golf it's called wrist set. In physical therapy it's called radial deviation. So the ability of your thumb to come towards the inside of your arm. Let me show you that a little bit more up close. So you want to know, does your wrist move in that direction? So there's a couple different things that we need to talk about. First and foremost is grip, okay? When you think of the grip of the club, it should be mostly in the fingers of your hands. If you grip the club and it comes across your palm, it will lock your wrist and won't allow you to set the club. So make sure that the club is in your fingers, and when you hold it, you should be able to, right there, move it. Whereas if I put it in my palms, I can't move it at all. So that's first and foremost. That'll free up your wrist to be able to make it more mobile. The second, I'm going to come in a little bit closer just so you can see it easier. Let's talk about the thumb, okay? You have to be able to have a thumb that it can extend all the way. What we're looking for is a nice straight line down from your wrist all the way up to your thumb. And I actually have what's called a hitchhiker's thumb. You can't create that, you're born with that. And it is an advantage, but not something, if you don't have it, that's going to make you less powerful or a poor golfer. What we don't want to see is a thumb that looks kind of like that. So if your thumb can't extend the whole way, it's going to give you issues in setting your wrist. The second is, again, that radial deviation, that wrist set. So what you want to do is make a fist with your hand and come up. And you want to make sure that your wrist is neutral. Don't let it extend as you come up, okay? And I'm actually a pretty good example of this because I don't have a great wrist set because my wrist is a little stiff. So I can only get to there, whereas most people can get a little bit further. If I cheat and extend, you can see that my wrist went a little bit further. But for the test purposes, again, you want to keep it nice and neutral. So that's about as far as I can go with that. But if I extend, see how much more I can get in that motion. And you'll actually see that in my golf swing, because at the top of my backswing, I'll cup my wrist so I can get more wrist set, so I can get more power and drive into the ball a little bit better. Now I compensate in other ways in my swing to compensate for that, but I can't keep my wrist straight because my wrist is locked. It has poor motion in those bones. Now if you're somebody who goes through these tests and you notice that your wrist is a little stiff, go see somebody. You should see chiropractor, physical therapist, somebody who's a wrist specialist, to see if there's something that can be done to improve that motion. It could be a strength problem, it could be a flexibility problem, but it could also be a problem in the bones in your wrist. So there are some mobilizations, some things that could be done to try to improve that motion. Now, if you have all the motion and everything looks good, but you're still one of those people who can't set your wrists, it's probably more of a strength issue. So there are a couple good exercises that you can do to improve the strength into that motion to allow you to set your wrists, hold on to that wrist set as you come down into impact. Two ways that you can do it is, first one, just grab a dumbbell, hold half in your hand, half out, and again, keep your wrist neutral as you do this, and you just want to go down to up, down to up. I'll show you that from the side, down to up, down to up. Very simple. It looks like not much of a motion, but in the golf swing, it's a very, very important motion. And then, if you don't have a dumbbell, you can take a piece of tubing, step on it, same thing, down to up, down to up. Show you that from the front. Step on the tubing, down to up, down to up. And with this one, I'll bend my elbow a little bit more just to get some more resistance. With the dumbbell, I'll hang it right by my side because the gravity is going to resist that weight. So when it comes to setting your wrist, make sure you have the motion. If you don't have the motion, consult with somebody to see if there's something that can be done to gain that motion, or if there's something wrong with your anatomy. Because if there's something wrong with the bony anatomy of your wrist and of your hand, you don't want to mess with that. Okay, so make sure that you consult with somebody if you do those tests for your thumb and for your wrist and you don't have the motion that's needed. If you do have the motion, but you can't use it, then get stronger, okay? And then if you have those two things and you're still not setting your wrist, then it's probably a grip issue. So check your grip, make sure that it's in the fingers and the upper palm of your hand versus coming across your hand, okay? So that'll help you with your wrist set, which will help you increase power, help you to have a better golf swing. If you have any more questions, please contact me, ianm@orthocorept.com. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.